My name is Adrian Mays, and this is my Teacher Toolkit. The purpose of the Teacher Toolkit is to have a variety of information such as reading material, assessment tools, and instructional activities that can be used in the classroom to help students develop better reading habits. In this Teacher Toolkit, I was required to gather and describe 3 assessment tools that will be helpful to students. The first assessment tool I chose is a pretest by Brown and Benchfield. The purpose of this assessment tool is to assess what a student knows before a lesson or mini lesson is taught. This tool is meant for students to read out loud so the teacher can assess their reading as well as their comprehension. Once a pretest has been read by the student, there are questions that will be asked to the student to see what they paid attention to and see if they are able to answer the questions. Based on the outcome of this pretest, the teacher will know what to teach and whether the student really needs help. The teacher must find a starting point, but there is no point in teaching something that the student may already know. The second assessment tool that I think is very beneficial to students as well as teachers is journaling. Having students write in journals daily will keep a running record of improvements made by the student. The students can be prompted or given free will to write about what they learned that day. The teacher can use this and go back and see what was received by the student and what may need to be retaught. Teachers should respond to their students from time to time to let them know they are reading what the students are writing and they are there to help them. The third assessment tool that I think is also beneficial to both teachers and students is peer review. In school, I most like peer review. This lets you get the perspective of other students and makes you feel equal to others rather than the teacher who thinks they know everything. Peer review is when students are working on a particular piece of writing that they may want to publish. So they ask fellow classmates to read over it and check for understanding and errors. As for the teacher may use proximity and monitor the room. The teacher may also give ideas but not go too far because it is a peer review. In the next section of the Teacher Toolkit, there are mentor texts that can also help students become more affluent and autonomous readers and writers. The first mentor text that I selected is Granddaddy's Gift by Marguerite King Mitchell. This book is for grade levels 3 through 5. The setting of the book is Mississippi during the 1960s, when an African-American grandfather volunteers to register to vote. In the 1960s, this was a very bold move. Despite the dangers, he longs for his granddaughter's life to be better and for her to have greater opportunity than him. This book is a level O. While reading this mentor text, the teacher can ask questions about the characters, their strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. Text complexity is normal for the average student. The second mentor text I chose is A Day's Work by Eve Bunton. This book is also for grades 3 through 5. This book is about a boy and his grandfather and their occupation as daily laborers. The boy makes a big mistake and learns a valuable lesson through his grandfather's reaction. This book is a level K. The teacher can use this mentor text to teach text-to-world connections. Text complexity is normal for the average student in this mentor text. The third mentor text I chose for my Teacher Toolkit is The Basket Moon by Mary Lynn Ray. This book is for grade levels 3 through 5. The Basket Moon is a story of a young boy whose father makes baskets in a rural community and travels to town to sell them. The students can read this text and the teacher can focus on text-to-text connections with a similar book, Oxcart Man by Donald Hall. This book is a level O as well, and the text complexity is not difficult for the average student. The next section in the Teacher Toolkit is the Reading Strategies section. I selected 3 reading strategies that I know students will not only enjoy, but will be able to learn from. There are many reading strategies that students can learn from and the teacher can teach to them. As you can see on the picture, there are 12. A few ideas in the reading strategies are decoding, monitor, opinion, summarizing, understanding the author's point of view, cause and effect, problem solving, story structure, being able to compare and contrast, being able to predict, and being able to make generalizations about a text. The first reading strategy I selected is direct reading and thinking activity. This procedure focuses on reading as a thinking process. Its intent is to teach children to make predictions throughout reading. Before reading, the students are to predict. During the reading, the teacher stops at strategic points for the students to confirm their predictions. The second reading strategy that I selected is a KWL chart. A KWL chart focuses on prior knowledge to see what students already know. The next section in the KWL, the W is what the students want to know. And lastly, the L is what the students want to learn. At the end, the students are to make a comparison from what they didn't know to what they learned. The final reading strategy that I selected is questioning the author. This procedure involves discussion strategy instruction, and self-explanation. It encourages students to reflect on what the author of a selection is trying to say and allows them to build a mental representation of that information. In the final section of the teacher toolkit, there is a guided reading lesson. Guided reading has to be well-timed and well-planned. In using the text, "The Goat Who Could Not Sneeze," the teacher is able to use familiar writing and also word building techniques. The familiar writing and word building techniques should take up to about 6 minutes. Before reading the book's cover, the teacher should make predictions with the students, looking at the structure, the meaning, and things that will be discussed. While reading, the teacher must revisit the teaching points as much as needed so that students are following along. A comprehension strategy to focus on would be connections, questions, making inferences, visualizations, summarizing, synthesizing, determining importance. And also the anchor chart is used for a visual and not just so that the students are listening to what the teacher is saying. The teacher toolkit is a very engaging and organized way to show different strategies and how they work.